top 10 corner outfielders in baseball for the 2024 MLB season. Reminder that we did rank in honorable mention and 15 corner outfielders. We're not going to give you the honorable mentions in 15 through 11 on this podcast. You got to go read Tim Kelly's awesome write-up on justbaseball.com for that. But we are going to give you the top 10. I've got evens. You've got odds.
You've got evens. I've got odds.
Shall we jump in? Number 10 is Ian Happ of the Chicago Cubs. 29-year-old Ian Happ. I had him 11. You had him 11. He was in the 9 to 12 range for pretty much everybody. But Ian Happ played all the time for the Cubs last year, and he slashed 248, 360, 431. 21 homers, 84 driven in, 14 stolen bases. Ian Happ was a 3.5 win player. He's got a Gold Glove in left. He did perform not great in outs above average, but he did have 2 defensive runs saved. Regardless, the bat is the calling card for this guy, even off of a Gold Glove. A 118 WRC plus. Ian Happ is not sexy by any stretch, but he is a reliable switch hitter that is a well above average hitter, and I feel great writing him on the lineup card every day as the 2 hitter or the 5 hitter and the left fielder.
We talked about this before we pressed the record button on this show. Ian Happ is like a Michelob Ultra. It's the beer that you keep ordering at the bar. It's not your favorite beer, but when you look at your statement, maybe not a lot of people are looking at what type of beer they got at the bar over an entire year. I don't either. I'm not pretending to do so, but I bet if you did, a Michelob Ultra might be your most ordered beer. But where would you rank it? 10 on your favorite beers? But you keep ordering it. And that's why I like Ian Happ. Every single year, I know what I'm going to get. I'm going to get about 20 bombs. I'm going to get about 10 to 15 steals. I'm going to get a 120 WRC plus, and I'm going to get anywhere from 3 to 4 WAR because he plays good defense. He's just so solid. Nobody ever thinks about Ian Happ because he doesn't make that amazing play that puts him on SportsCenter. But every day shows up to the ballpark and does his job. He's so solid. And that goes under the radar, right? When you're ranking guys, you want to rank the guy with so much more potential or the guy who flies around, the more exciting guy. I want Ian Happ in my corner more than basically every corner outfielder that's beyond the top 10. I agree with the ranking. I think he should be in this. All but 9. No, what I'm saying is I agree with this ranking, and it may seem high, right? Unless you're a Cubs fan and you know what you're getting because you don't see him much and you might not care, but he is good.
Well, he wasn't making lists. I saw like MLB Network didn't have him on the top 10 left fielders. What are we doing?
That's ridiculous.
That's not fair to anybody because he's on the field all the time. He's playing a good defensive left field and he's hitting well above average.
Yeah.
Do you know how hard it is to find like good corner production on every major league team? You're telling me that this guy doesn't crack the top 10 left fielders? He won a Gold Glove in 22.
They ranked Shohei Ohtani 4th. On MLB Network Top 100. I mean, what do we can't compare.
Yeah, but like, what are you going to do? No, like, what are you going to do, Peter? Because, like, frankly, Shohei Ohtani, the DH, the non-two-way player, is not the number 1 player in baseball for 2020.
He's the best player in baseball. I'm ranking him number 1.
He's a DH.
It doesn't matter. He's Shohei Ohtani. Like, I'm going to rank him number 1. It doesn't matter. He's the most talented player. And maybe, yes, he won't be pitching this year. It doesn't matter.
He won't be the highest WAR accumulator in baseball this year.
How do we know that?
Because he's a
full year of
DH.
hitting. We don't know that. We're just assuming that based on what we've seen from the last 100 years of Major League Baseball. But this guy transcends that. I'm not going to say he can't lead all of Major League Baseball in WAR as a DH. What if he hits 50 bombs, steals 25 bags, and it's 300? That is not out of the ordinary. Shohei Ohtani put up a 180 WRC plus last year and had to leave the mound because he was getting Tommy John. Don't you think that there was something wrong with his elbow while he was hitting 2? No, there is nothing that could take me away from Ohtani at number 1. But this isn't about Ohtani. This is about Ian Happ, the Michelob Ultra of baseball players. A great beer I have all the time.
Give me number 9.
The number 9 corner outfielder in Major League Baseball is Christian Yelich of the Milwaukee Brewers. He's back. 19 bombs, 28 steals, a 4.1 FWAR, and he even played solid defense. Jack, we all rank, the top 15 corner outfielders, right? There's a panel just for everybody, who have maybe watching this for the first time, shout out to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, leave a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, that don't know that we have a panel, right? So you and I ranked him 7th. You and I and Aram all ranked him 7th. Colby ranked him 14th. That's why he's at number 9 on this list. I would have definitely put him higher. This is a guy that was a perennial MVP candidate from 2018 to 2019. Yelich slashed 327, 415, 631s with 80 bombs in those 2 years. Signed a big contract and looked as if it was going downhill. But we saw when he's healthy, he's still the man. And as long as he's healthy, which we assume he is, he's still the man. I think 9 is a little bit too low, but outside of Colby, definitive top 10 corner outfielder.
Yeah, lower back is the thing for Yelich. He had a nagging lower back issue that in turn just threw his entire game out of whack because his swing is so dependent on the entirety of his body. I also like that you said perennial MVP candidate from 2018 to 2019. So perennial over the course of those 2 years.
I'm not a wordsmith. I'm
fair,
a ball knower.
you're a
And
ball knower.
I wasn't wrong.
No, you're not wrong at all.
Yeah.
At all. What I will say about Yelich is I have no idea how much corner outfield he will play this year. He might just be the everyday DH for the Brewers. That may be the best thing for him. Like, just focus on the bat, focus on staying healthy, like get off your feet for 90 minutes a night. Like, that's awesome for Christian Yelich. His value doesn't tank by any stretch defensively, but he's not a good defensive outfielder.
Yeah.
Having said all that, when this guy's right, even when he was wrong, frankly, he would hit some balls where I'm like, Yellie's back. And we were just begging and begging and begging for the course of, honestly, got 3 years. It was like, where is he? Where did you go? And we got a taste of him being back. Clearly, it wasn't, 40 homers, 30 bags, and, hitting 300 like he was, but he was good enough to scratch that itch of Yelly being back.
Still put up a 370 on base percentage, was 1 home run away from 20 and 2 stolen bases away from 30. So he was, it's still pretty damn good, right? And if we get him in a DH role more often this year, healthier, he could put up a 4.5 win season, right? He could hit 25 bombs, steal 30 bags. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Dog. 2019 Christian Yelich hit 329 with 44 homers and 30 for 32 in the stolen base department.
Oh, I miss that man. That was one of my favorite players.
So much.
I think he's still relatively here. I still think we're going to get 75th percentile of that this season.
I hope so. Damn, I hope so. All right, number 8 is Randy Arozarena of the Tampa Bay Rays. And Randy, he's 29 years old. Call it I don't even know what the narrative around Randy Arozarena is right now. Just know that this guy is really freaking good at this game. Randy Arozarena, -6 outs above average, 4 defensive run saves. I think he's fine in the corner. He hit 255, but he had a 365 OBP. He had 23 homers. He had 22 bags, a 126 WRC plus, and he put up a 3.3 win season. Randy is becoming very solid for me. And you think, because he's got a flair for the dramatic and he's exciting and he's, so easy to root for. He plays a sexy brand that he's going to be volatile. Frankly, he's anything but volatile. He proves to be consistently strong. But man, when Randy's going right, there's nothing like that show in our game. I just wonder, can he ever put together a season where he looks like that for a full 162? I think we're learning year by year that the answer may be no, but the baseline is just so strong.
I've compared Carlos Correa to Jimmy Butler. For NBA fans, they know that Jimmy Butler in the regular season is solid, and then in the postseason, he turns into one of the best players alive. A much better comparison for Jimmy Butler is Randy Arozarena. But the reason I ranked Randy below a guy like Christian Yelich is you said that Randy is a fine defender. I would actually classify him as one of the worst corner outfielders when it comes to defense. The numbers would back that up. And there were so many times during the regular season where you turn on a Rays game and, there's a lack of effort out there in left field. There were plenty of balls where They dropped in front of him where I thought, Randy, you can get that baseball. Or behind him, Randy, you can get that baseball. Or throwing home, and he just looks lackadaisical. It looks like sometimes his concentration isn't there as a defender. I feel the same way about Ronald Acuna Jr., right? Like you're better than what you're showing. It looks like a lack of concentration rather than a lack of talent. Like Kyle Schwarber, I don't think it's a lack of concentration, it's a lack of talent. Guys like Randy, guys like Ronald Acuna Jr., you need to be able to play better defensive corner outfielder, and they just haven't, right? And while the bats are similar, right, what Randy did last year to Christian Yelich, that's why I ranked him, because I think Christian Yelich is actually a better defender. And I think there's potentially more upside in the bat. But I understand Randy being a little bit higher because you get him in the postseason and he's box office. We saw him in the World Baseball Classic. He took the world by storm in every postseason. He goes nuts.
Andy never stinks. That's the
No.
thing, man. Like people really, I think, underrate Randy's ability to get on base and offer a nice blend of power and speed. Does he get caught more than anybody in baseball is trying to swipe back? Yes, he does. But it's not often you get a blend of power and speed. Like we take 2020 for granted now, but this guy's a 2020 threat all the time. And like teams only have one or two of those guys per roster. Like there may be 30 guys in baseball that are a 2020 threat. Maybe a couple more.
Maybe less.
I don't know. Like Volpe was 2020. You know what I mean? Like you got to start clumping guys like Volpe in
You
there.
forget, yeah. No,
You forget Volpe was 2020.
No,
So I do think, right, like I do think there's probably 30 to 40 guys that are 2020 threats, and Randy is a 2020 threat all the time. Interesting also to note that he raised his average exit velo by about 2 miles an hour. So he was hitting the ball harder, way harder than he was in 2022. He also cut the ground ball rate big time, elevated the fly ball rate. So he's hitting the ball harder. He's lifting more. We could see the best power season of Randy's career coming in 2024.
That's the thing, though. It didn't result in more slug, right? You're talking about those things, not putting the ball on the ground is more, raising the exit velo. But his slugging percentage was actually, of the last 3 seasons, right? His last 3 full seasons, it was the lowest of his career, which I found interesting, right? Those didn't translate to more slug. I wonder if they do this year, right? Because when you look at his expected slugging percentage, it was a little bit higher at 435 compared to 425, but it wasn't all the way there yet. Wonder if the Rays are able to unlock a little bit more in this season. And then if they do, right, he still hit 23 home runs last year. Could he get up to 30? Probably not, but could he be higher than 23? I think so. Number 7 on the top 10 corner outfielder list is Brandon Nimmo of the New York Mets. Now, Brandon Nimmo, from reports, is going to play a lot more left field because Harrison Bader is slated to be the Mets starting center fielder on opening day. So we moved him from the center field list to the corner outfield list, and he landed at number 7. All right. So again, when you look at the article on justbaseball.com, you'll see the ranks as him as a center fielder. We kind of had to just push him to where we all thought. We thought he was a little bit better than Randy Rosarina because I think he is a better defender. And with the bat, he put up a higher WRC plus. He actually hit more home runs, didn't steal as many bags, but put up a 4.3 FWAR compared to Randy at 3.3. So when I look at Brandon Nimmo, at first, like a couple of years ago, you were always kind of worried, like, is this guy staying healthy enough to be considered one of the better corner outfielders or center fielders in Major League Baseball, right? Because on the field, he was always good. It's just the availability was always a concern. Last 2 seasons, he's been on the field every day. And if he can continue that, right, if I have back-to-back seasons of 150 games or more, I'm happy, especially with this guy getting on base as much as he does. Also, Brandon Nimmo is your classic, takes a walk and then sprints down the first base line. Some people find that cringy. I don't. I love the grittiness from Brandon Nimmo right there. So I enjoy watching Brandon Nimmo play baseball. And he could do a lot of everything, right? He has more power than you might think, right? 24 home runs. You don't think that from Brandon Nimmo, but he's got that in his bag. He's got plenty of OBP, right? He's a 363 on base guy. Slugs 40 points higher than Randy, 466. Played good defense. He's just a really good player. He's like if you just gave Ian Happ a little bit more juice.
and made him a little weirder. Like,
Made him a little
that's the
weirder.
thing. I don't think he's cringy. I just think he's weird. He's from Wyoming. Like, he might just be odd, which is okay. I'm fine with odd. I'm fine with weird, and I'm fine with Wyoming as a place. Uh, Brandon Nimmo is a very exciting center fielder, I think, in a non-conventional way. You hear exciting center fielder, you think diving catches, you think, 40-40 threat. You think Matt Kemp when you think exciting center fielder. That's not what I'm doing with Nimmo, and him moving to left. I think the idea of the baseline production being so ridiculously high is exciting to me, where he's going to walk all the time. Yes, Ian Happ with more juice. But man, it's the Corbin Carroll thing, where Carroll was a center fielder and then they moved him to left and he got even better. Quan, center fielder, they moved him to left, he got even better. It is a much higher profile guy, one that has already gotten his bag. But this guy proved to be a good center fielder, much like Carroll and Quan were. Move him to left, he could be a great left fielder defensively.
Brendan Emo is also a big game defender. I've seen plenty of Mets games where he makes the play that you gotta make, right? Robbing the home run or the diving catch with 2 outs and runners on the pond, right? You need that catch. Brandon Nimmo was always there, always there. Now you move him over to left field. You got Harrison Bader, who is a great defender in center field as long as he can stay healthy. And it's tough to say, yeah, Harrison Bader is going to give you 150 games this season. So I'm sure Brandon Nimmo is still going to play some center field too. But that speaks to his versatility that he can do both. I think he'd be a very good defensive left fielder. I think he's a solid defensive center fielder who always makes the big defensive play, right?
Yeah.
I like Brandon Nimmo. I think he's one of the best players on the Mets.
Like him too. Man, and he's paid like one. He's
Yeah, he is.
absolutely compensated like one. All right. Number six. Number six is Adolis Garcia of the Texas Rangers. And Adolis Garcia has proven to be one of the more menacing power bats in baseball. And we are totally hitting a new echelon here because this guy is an elite defensive right fielder. You will never move Adolis Garcia. My pitch on the Texas Rangers this year is like a volleyball line, like a volleyball substitution pattern where, everybody like moves around, right? You got Langford, Carter, Leote, and Adolis. Don't move Adolis from right field. Don't listen to me, please. It should be Leote in center, Carter in left, Langford is the DH, and Adolis Garcia in right. This guy in right field, 6 defensive runs saved, 2 outs above average. But it's the bat, man. He slugged over 500. He hit 240, but he had 39 homers and 107 driven in. And because he is that insane power threat, and because he is an elite defensive right fielder, Adolis Garcia put up a 4.8 win season last year. And frankly, that may go nowhere. Like, I expect him to be a 4-win player at the very least this year.
And then when you get him in the postseason, like we just saw, it's box office. I mean, he is a must watch at bat. And not because he's going to give you incredible plate discipline, right? He's not the greatest worksman of an at bat, right? We're still looking at a 245 batting average and a 328 OBP, but we're looking at a slugging percentage over 500 because when he puts bat to ball, the thing goes ballistic, right? He's got donkey pop. He is a menace of a man. He's so much fun to watch play because he does make those great plays in the outfield, and then he comes up to the plate and he's first pitch swinging and he's trying to go yard. That is a very, very fun player to watch. Now, I think the reason, right, he doesn't rank higher on this list is because the top 5 is unbelievable. And if you're a Texas Ranger fan, we're about to get in the 5th best player, and you're going to be like, all right, yeah, that makes sense. So I think this is a perfect spot for him, right? When we look at our panel, all of us had him 6. Leo had him 7. Colby had him 8, right? So we're all on the same page here.
Colby's just a silly goose, man.
He has no idea what he's talking about. It's crazy. I'm also curious, too. You said that you'd put Langford at DH. I think Leote's going to the bench. I think you're figuring out a way to put Langford in center or Evan Carter in center. We're not putting
the
Wyatt
DH spot open
because Langford can play defense.
Yeah, but so can Leote.
Yeah, but we'll see if Leote is really that guy, right? He had one good season. We'll see. And it was really I think it was more of a first half thing. And then he didn't show up in the playoffs either, really. And has no real history of doing this.
Positive as it. But, like, take a look at the organizational depth there. Like, you want Travis
Jankowski. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, you want Travis Jankowski DHing because you got to get Langford in center.
Pretty sure
I would
Travis
rather,
Jankowski is gone.
or no, they brought Jankowski back.
They did? Oh, good for them.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, like I just don't think they need to shove Jankowski back in the DH spot. When you've got Langford to DH, why not just have Leody play center?
What do you think about the Rangers this year? I have a
Um,
very overarching question. I like
yeah,
it's
that's
like
broad.
I see the offense and it's like the same thing. I see the bullpen and we saw what they did in the postseason, but I'm just still concerned about the starting pitching. Without Jamont, and if I'm not getting a healthy DeGrom and Scherzer was just looking on his last legs at the end of the season, like what does this rotation look like? Are they in your oh yeah, they could definitely repeat as World Series champions? I'm not so sure right now. Like obviously they're going to be
So
in the hunt, but I'm not penciling them in right? Like I'm pretty excited about the Mariners. I'm pretty excited about the Astros. I don't know where I'm penciling them in right now.
I've got a lot of questions about their bullpen. I think Leclerc is a setup guy masking as a closer. Thought Hader was the perfect fit for them. It's interesting that you win the World Series and everybody's immediately talking about an upgraded closer when Leclerc was good in the postseason. But over the course of 162 and an additional 30 in the postseason or an additional 20 in the postseason, I think that that guy can be an elite setup guy, but just a good closer. It's like Alzolay. I think Alzolay kind of same thing, like good closer, but elite setup guy. Um,
I also think
Roberts,
I also
yeah,
think they're one of those teams that looks better once they sneak into the postseason, right? Because postseason baseball and regular
it's
season
offense.
baseball are different, right?
They're
So if you
different.
can get two or three great starters, three back end guys who can
Yeah.
close the door, and then you just hit better than everybody else, you can just beat your way through series, kind of like they did last year, except the pitching was so elite at the top. I just don't know if they have that pitching at the top. I don't think they win 90 games this year, but if they sneak into the postseason, they could still win a World Series. That's how kind of I view this team. So if I'm down on them in the regular season and they sneak into the playoffs, I'll probably be hopping back on depending on the starting pitching situation.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like the All-Star break, you look to add DeGrom, Malley, and possibly Scherzer. So then
No,
that creates DeGrom, Eovaldi, Malley, Scherzer, Gray as a
I know it's like,
five. And
what
it's
does that look like? Like we're saying all those names sound great, but what does that truly look like? Like
they're
we're
old
saying DeGrom
farts.
comes back are we expecting him to just be lights out again?
Yes, actually, I fully am.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to, but I don't know. It's just they're one of the most interesting teams this offseason, and I'm very excited to watch what happens.
Yeah.
But let's talk number five. Number five on the list is Kyle Tucker of the Houston Astros, a dynamo, good at everything, hits for power, 29 bombs, is flies around the base pass, 30 stolen bases, great defender, put up a 4.9 F4, 284, 369, 517, 112 driven in. This is exactly what you want, right? I mean, this guy, if he was on the open market right now at age 27 years old, he'd probably be a 10-year, $250 million guy, maybe more, right? Kyle Tucker is one of the best players on one of the best teams in Major League Baseball. There's nothing he does wrong. What's your favorite recreational beer?
Favorite recreational, but he's a Stella to me.
Or Corona with a lime on the beach? Like
Modelo.
just, it's not one of these $20 cocktails, which you may prefer more, but it's as good of a beer as you want on the beach.
Kyle Tucker's a $300 million player.
You might be. Yeah.
He's going to be a $300 million player. Mention he was a homer away from a 30-30 season. He led the American League in RBIs. He is a top flight defensive right fielder. And it's not like he punches out all the time at all. Do you have the K rate in front of you? I bet it's like 14%, 13, 14%.
I don't have it in front of me, but I'll look
I'll
it up
grab
real.
it now.
I can. He doesn't strike out. Like there's nothing wrong with his game. Now it's not Gaudy, right? It's not Acuna where it's 40-70, but it's 30-30. And it's just every day relentless. Shows up every day, available, just such a sound player.
Kyle Tucker has a 13.5% K rate, a 12% walk rate, both of which well above average. Tucker, the league average K rate is 22.8%. This guy was 9% below that last year. The league average walk rate is 8.5%. He walked 12% of the time. And oh, by the way, his average exit velocity was over 90 miles an hour. So he's hitting the ball hard. He's not punching out. He's walking. He's a 30-30 guy, and he's playing elite defense in right. And he's young. $300 million.
And he doesn't struggle against lefties. Right? He's a lefty bat. He actually had a 934 OPS against lefties last year, / 300, 367, 567 against lefties, 859 OPS against righties. So you're not going to put in, and he doesn't wear batting gloves. You're not going to put in that lefty reliever and think to yourself, oh, yeah, this is what's going to get Kyle Tucker. He's arguably better, kind of like what Jordan does in the postseason. And he didn't even have a great first half to give him this great 30-30 season, right? Put up an 836 OPS in the first half, which is good. But for Kyle Tucker standards, we'd like to see a little bit more. And that's exactly what he did in the second half. 952 OPS, 578 slug. This is exactly who you want as a baseball player.
Yes, bingo. He's near perfect. Number 4 is as close to damn perfect as you could possibly find, too. The 4th best corner outfielder in baseball is Corbin Carroll of the Arizona Diamondbacks. And Carroll, I was expecting to be a center fielder, not the case. Alec Thomas is a better defensive center fielder. Makes a ton of sense, especially in that spacious outfield. They've got pretty much, if you take out Lourdes Gurriel Jr., if they put out their best defensive alignment in the outfield, it would probably be Carroll in left, Thomas in center, Grichuk in right. And you've got 3 guys that can play passable center field in all 3 of those outfield spots. Corbin Carroll is a good left fielder. I know the metrics are so-so on him, right? It's -3 defensive run saved, but 4 outs above average. Corbin Carroll hit about 290. He had an OBP over 360. He slugged over 500 for a guy that's that small and that slight. 25 homers, 54 stolen bases, a 133 WRC plus. And this guy was a unanimous rookie of the year because he put up a 6-win season in his rookie year. He's going to walk backwards into a 5-win season every year with the chance for way more. 25, okay. I think this guy can hit 30 homers and he can swipe 60 backs. If anybody, nobody's going to get to 40-70. And we're going to talk about 40-70 in a moment. But a guy that can get to 30-60, that guy is Corbin Carroll.
Yeah, he's like the closest thing to Ronald Acuna Jr. in that way. In terms of those, maybe we're going to talk about 2 and 3, and those guys are definitely in the discussion. But if we're just talking about home runs and stolen bases, this is as good as you're going to get to a guy like Ronald Acuna Jr. Yes. I mean, it's just so cool, right? We were all over the Diamondbacks last year as our team, right? Over 74.5. We all bet Corbin Carroll to win Rookie of the Year. It's not like we knew this was coming because I didn't envision 25 home runs and 54 stolen bases. And then once we get to the postseason and he finally locks in, he can't get out. And he's a great defender. I put Kyle Tucker ahead of him just because Kyle Tucker has done it more and is also unbelievably good.
Yeah.
But I'm fine having him here too because there's no holes in the game and there's no reason to believe that it can't get better, right? The reason we were so high on him is because he was showing off 470-foot home runs in the minor leagues as a 5'8" guy,
yeah,
right?
I think he's 5'10".
Like this was supposed to be a speedster, great defender. 25 home runs in his like really first full season.
That's what he does, though. It's
like he won Rookie of the Year. This was his rookie year. We have so much more to dream on with this guy. And I think really it's only going to get better as he gets more reps.
Yeah.
He's a scary player to go up against because you never know how he's going to beat you. Is he going to beat you with that great catch? Is he going to beat you running first to home on a double and getting there easily? Is he going to swipe second to be that key run? Is the bottom of the lineup finally gets on, then he hits the home run. He's just overwhelming. He's an overwhelming player for other teams to go against.
He's a game changer. I like the way you put that because he can flip a game on its head in so many different ways. And he truly embodies the term game changer.
And I just don't understand why he finished with negative 3 defensive runs saved. I didn't see
I
any of
don't,
them. That's not
calculations wrong.
real.
It's
That's
just
not
wrong.
real. And 4 outs above average, that's bullshit. He's way better than that. So I'm not paying any attention. But number 3 on the list is Fernando Tatis Jr. of the San Diego Padres, the Platinum Glove Award winner, and deserved every penny of that, or whatever the term is for penny. What's platinum? You know what I'm talking about. 29 defensive runs saved. We talked about how good Dansby Swanson is, right? 18 defensive runs saved. How about Kevin Kiermaier? We know how great he is defensively. 18 defensive runs saved. What about Brian Hayes, right? Everybody's favorite defender in Major League Baseball. He had 21 last year. Andres Jimenez, second to Tatis at 23. Fernando Tatis Jr. transitioned from shortstop to right field and became the best defender, not just in a corner, in Major League Baseball last season by the numbers. Is he going to replicate that? There's no reason to believe that he can't. This is a freak athlete that comes along every 10 years, right? And we could talk about so many things. Tatis's past, right? The steroid issue, riding motorcycles and breaking the wrist. I can understand why people out there may not like that he's this high. But I also think that Fernando Tatis enjoyers might think he's too low even at number 3. This guy, while fully healthy, and if he's playing 162 games, I think could be a 40-40 guy with elite defense in a corner. That puts you easily in the top 5 players. That puts you in the MVP conversation, no doubt about it. That can win you an MVP, right? We saw Acuna and Mookie, who we're going to talk about in a little bit. Not Mookie anymore. But we can see an 8.3 to 8.5 win season for Tatis comparatively to those two who did it last year. And I could even see a 9-win season. I think that highly of him. I'm not worried about the steroids. It's obviously in the past. I'm not worried about the wrist thing anymore. I think that this was a eye-opening experience for a young guy, and America is the land of second chances. Give this man a second chance if you're a hater. Because once you get over that and you turn on a San Diego Padres game,
He's fun.
You're going to smile from ear to ear from inning 1 to inning 9 watching this man play.
I am never going to ding someone for not forgiving a steroid user. Never. I totally understand if you want to hold it against him for the rest of his career because he cheated and he did it, via artificial strength. Like, okay. What I will say is he just turned 25 and we can still appreciate what he does clean despite the fact that there is an asterisk next to his name. Years moving forward, like this guy's getting tested. Years moving forward will be clean, and you have to appreciate the clean threat for 40-40. And we've seen the clean 40-40 from Ronald Acuna. We saw, I think 40-40 from a couple of steroid users. We can't view what he does moving forward as tainted because he's a steroid user. No, he was, and he got popped, and he's not doing it anymore. I thought the transition from a shortstop with a myriad of defensive questions to a platinum glove right fielder was like one of the craziest stories that not many people wanted to talk about last year. The fact that he does have that platinum glove hardware in his living room to show people, it's like, yeah, I did this in year 1 of playing the corner outfield. That is amazing. And the fact that this guy had a 320 OBP, which I think is what in turn docked his WAR. He was a 4.5 win player because he frankly didn't get on base that much. 322 OBP. OPS was, I think, like 770-ish, around 750.
A lot lower than I thought because the OBP really suffered.
Yeah, the OBP sucked. And like the slug was, 80 points lower than it typically had been because he only hit 25 homers and he only swiped 29 bags at a very high efficiency. He, after a year of injury and personal turmoil, came back and flirted with 30-30 and won a platinum glove. He may never have a clean head again, but if he gets anywhere close to having a clean head, 40-40 in MVP in his future.
Younger than Adley Rutschman.
Yes.
Like, put that in perspective too, right? This is a 25-year-old.
Isn't he younger than Gavin Stone?
Is he? Is Gavin Stone that old?
I mean, he's 25.
I didn't know he's 25.
Yeah, he's younger than River Ryan. Yeah, he's younger than Gavin Stone. He's younger than River Ryan, who people want to shove into the top 20 prospects in baseball. Dodger right-hander.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we're talking about here, people. Like, let's see what he does in his age 25 season this year. I think it's going to be MVP level Fernando Tatis Jr. And, you could disagree with me or Jack, and, you could hate on him, but we're just going to have to see, right? The proof will be in the pudding. And I saw enough last year for me to fully buy in for this year. Time for two?
100%. Time for number two. Number two, there shouldn't be much surprise here. It's Juan Soto of the now New York Yankees. And Juan Soto is the modern day Ted Williams. He's walking more than everybody. He's striking out less than he's walking. He is a bad defender. We know that. Don't care. His offensive profile is unfreaking believable. He graded out in the way negative defensively, and he still put up a 5.5 win season. Why? Because he had 35 homers, drove in 109, hit 275, which was kind of the low point for him, with a 410 OBP. He led Major League Baseball in walks, and he had a 155 WRC plus. Juan Soto is next level. He is mature beyond his years. He's something we've never seen before offensively, and he's going to be compensated appropriately. There were times last year where he lacked protection in that Padre offense, which is why he was walking all the time. There were points with the Nats where he lacked a bunch of protection. I mean, we talked about it going into the 2022 season, where it was like, nobody's protecting him. Why would anybody throw to Juan Soto? Guess what? He led Major League Baseball in walks. He's got Aaron Judge around him now, and he's got complementary pieces like Anthony Rizzo and Gleyber Torres and maybe DJ LeMahieu and Anthony Volpe. Man, Juan Soto in a protected lineup could be something, again, we've never seen before.
I think Yankees fans should be as excited to get Juan Soto as they were back in 2000 and what was it, 4 or 5 when they got Alex Rodriguez. That's how
it's for a year.
No,
I will
know.
say
I'm
it's
just
for a
saying the
year.
overall excitement for a player of that type of caliber.
Yeah.
And you're probably thinking to yourself, like, Peter, that was an insane thing to say. Just shut up, dude. Let's go through WRC Plus since he started with the Washington Nationals back in 2018 as a 19-year-old. That season, put up a 146 WRC Plus. Remember, 100 is league average. So he's 46% better than the league average hitter at 19. What about at 20? When pitchers normally adjust to you, right? Not when you're generational like a Julio Rodriguez, like your sophomore slump per se. 143 WRC plus with 34 home runs. 2020 shortened season, right? 202 WRC plus. 2021 still with the Nationals, 0 protection, hit 313, and by the way, in 2020 hit 351. Put up a 164 WRC plus. Between two teams, right? Bouncing around, right? Trade rumors. He's in the news every day. Hard to focus. 145 WRC plus. 2023, 155 WRC plus, 35 bombs in a place that is hard to hit home runs in. This is a generational hitter. This is a hitter that does not come around often. And if we're talking about availability, he's played 150 games every year of his career outside of his first year where he came up, right, as a 19-year-old and then in 2020. So he's available, 35 bombs, he's going to lead the league in walks, and he's going to give you a 150 WRC plus, kind of at the minimum. And now you get him in the short porch. I do not give a fuck about his defense. Stop it with that. Stop it.
And
does anybody care?
Very small outfield.
Does anybody care about Yordan's defense? Why are we holding Soto so accountable for corner defense? Like, yeah, it matters.
He was a Gold Glove finalist when he sucked. Like, if he wasn't a Gold Glove finalist, it was whatever.
I agree. I agree with you.
It's also the one thing that gets under people's skin. They have nothing to complain about offensively, and natural human instinct is to bitch and moan about something.
Exactly. This guy, you could make the argument is a better overall hitter than Aaron Judge. I wouldn't make that
Yeah.
argument, but I think that's well within our rights to say that Juan Soto, Yordan Alvarez, Shohei Ohtani, like Acuna, all these guys are the top 5 hitters in Major League Baseball. And now the Yankees have 2 of them. Now, the rest of the lineup, we'll see what happens, right? I'm not talking about how, Glaber's the 3rd best hitter, and then you got some question marks here.
Right.
But just those 2. I mean, how do we not think about the incredible duos of Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig? Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio.
It hasn't
Like, how do
happened
we?
yet. It
I
hasn't
know it
happened
hasn't
yet.
happened
I will
yet,
say
but it you can understand the excitement coming out of the Bronx. This is exactly the player who I've always wanted on the Yankees. This is the perfect Yankee, and now I hope he loves it here. He seems to already love it, and I hope the Yankees give him whatever he wants after this year when he hits 40 home runs, hits 300, and puts up a 170 WRC plus.
we shall see. One more thing before you get into number 1. No Aaron Judge on this list. Aaron Judge is a center fielder. Verdugo is in left. Soto is in right. Judge is in center. He will be ranked as a center fielder. Now number 1.
Number 1, as if you didn't know who it already was, Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Atlanta Braves. 41 home runs, 73 stolen bases. Let's end the podcast. It just is what it is. 8.3
Plug the
F4.
merch.
MVP, 337, 416 OBP, 596 slugging, a 170 WRC plus. These are numbers that you hope to accomplish in your My Player on MLB The Show. These are numbers that we don't see in Major League Baseball history. This does not happen. 40-70, first time in MLB history. There are only a handful of players who've ever done 40-40. He did 40-70. I still have problems with the defense. And the reason I have problems with the defense, Braves fans, is we both know he's way better than what he's shown. He shouldn't be missing these easy fly balls. He shouldn't go to Coors Field and have no idea where the sun is and allow a bunch of them to just go way over his head or right in front of him. He should not be overthrowing the cutoff guy and have the ball sailing. It's a concentration thing. It's not a talent thing. I think he could truly, if he wanted to, walk out and be one of the best defenders in a corner that we have in Major League Baseball. He has a rifle that normally is hitting 100 miles an hour. Probably not, but it looks like it, right? It's incredible arm speed. He's so fast. He can get to any ball he wants to. It's almost like those years where, the top NBA players, right, aren't playing defense. Like, we know you could. We know you could if you wanted to. Especially Acuna at this age. It needs to be better. However, it's not taking him off the number 1 spot because Juan Soto can't go 40-70. He can't. Nobody can. Ron Acuna Jr. is the only man on the planet who can do 40-70. And is the number 1 player who could do it in MLB history.
Correct. Ronald Acuna Jr., 2 quick things, and then I'll let you plug the merch. Average exit velocity in Major League Baseball last year. Aaron Judge, Ronald Acuna Jr., Shohei Ohtani, Matt Olson.
That's stupid.
So he's second. He had the hardest hit ball in Major League Baseball last year. It was a 3-0 pitch on the outside black from Emmett Sheehan in the mid-90s. And he hit at 121.7 miles an hour to dead center at Dodger Stadium. And Ronald Acuna Jr., K rate by year. Start 2018, his rookie year, when he won National League Rookie of the Year. 25%. 2019, 26%. 2020, 30% K rate. 2021, 23.5% K rate. 2022, 23.5%. 2023, 11.5% K rate. He was a career mid 20% K rate guy. He was striking out just above league average. He was striking out more than the average major league hitter. And he cuts it literally in more than half. He went from 24% to 11%. He's perfect. Just give a shit defensively.
He led in hits. He led in runs. He led in stolen bases. He led in OBP. He led in OPS. He led in OPS plus, and he led in total bases. I say more?
Don't forget caught stealing. He led in caught stealing. He was caught more than anybody in baseball.
That's why he's not 0. That's what's taken him from 0 to number 1. And if you enjoyed this episode of the Just Baseball Show, please leave a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Ladies and gentlemen, can you smell it? Can you smell the popcorn? Can you smell the sunflower seeds? Can you smell the dirt? Can you smell the sunshine? Baseball is on the horizon, and we got you covered the entire way through. We got to start even thinking about 5 days a week soon, but that'll definitely be on opening day. 5 days a week, the Just Baseball show got you covered on everything, including college baseball as well. Really hope you enjoyed the episode. And again, if you did, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Hit us with a like. Hit us with a comment. What do you think about our list? Do you hate it? Do you love it? Do you think it's perfect? I do. Do you? Let us know in the comment section below. Hopefully everybody has a great weekend. And in the meantime, go get yourself some Just Baseball merch. I mean, why not, right? Why not? It looks sick. And it's in the episode description. Yeah, it costs money, but it's going to be the best money you've ever spent. So go check it out in the episode description. For Jack McMullen, I am Peter Apple. Have a great weekend. And with that, thank you, everybody.